Hey guys, tonight we're going to take a trip to a place few have ventured into, a place that even the most powerful of heroes can't resist. The Garden of the Gods. It's a secluded corner of Olympus, far from the usual hustle of divine tasks, and immortal rivalries where even the mighty Hercules could find peace. And in the middle of it all, Hercules, yes, the Hercules, decides to do something quite unexpected. He naps. That's right. The hero of 1,000 adventures and 12 impossible labors who once held the heavens on his shoulders, takes a nap like any tired mortal. You probably won't survive this garden nap yourself, though. It's not every day you get a pass to rest in the lap of divinity. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop your location and local time in the comments. I always love seeing where you're joining from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As the sun begins its slow descent over Olympus, a stillness falls across the Garden of the Gods. This lush, sacred space is known for its peace, an oasis tucked away from the usual divine drama. Vines of every imaginable color crawl along the marble. Columns and flowers bloom with an otherworldly vibrancy, their petals shimmering in hues of gold and silver. Birds not of this world sing the quietest, most soothing melodies you can imagine. Songs that seem to hum through the air like a lullaby designed to sedate even the most restless of souls. Hercules, however, isn't here for the usual godly duties. He's had enough. After decades of performing labors that ranged from wrestling lions to capturing elusive birds, this mighty hero has come to realize something we'd all probably agree on. Even gods need their rest. The immense weight of his past triumphs and tribulations, the endless tests of strength, endurance, and courage, they've taken a toll. Now, the hero of the ancient world is weary, and so, in this peaceful sanctuary, he does the unthinkable. He stretches out beneath the shade of an olive tree, a great symbol of wisdom and peace, and closes his eyes. Historians still argue whether gods truly experience fatigue like mortals, but one thing is certain. Hercules, in this moment, is human, in his need for rest. It's a rare sight, this hero, usually so full of action, laying still as the divine world continues its eternal cycle around him. And so, the gods, witnessing this unusual sight, do what any good pantheon would do. They pause. They let him rest. After all, even divine beings understand the importance of a good nap, don't they? The mighty Hercules, sprawled beneath the shade of the olive tree, is an image you might never have imagined. His muscles, usually so tense with power, now relaxed as his chest rises and falls in the quiet rhythm of sleep. The hero, who once dared the impossible, who stood before the Hydra and the Nemean lion, now rests as though he were an ordinary man. And it's not just any nap. This is a deep, peaceful slumber, one where even the gods, usually so consumed by their own affairs, stop to take notice. Imagine it, Hercules, in the midst of his monumental feats, lying down in the garden, surrounded by the calming sights and sounds of the divine. His breathing is slow and steady, the slightest rustle of leaves the only disturbance in this serene world. If you've ever had one of those naps that feels like it could last forever, you might have an inkling of how Hercules feels. His tired muscles, his mind weary from years of battle, are at last given the chance to reset. But there's something curious about this moment. Hercules, as powerful as he is, hasn't just sought rest here by chance. No, this is no ordinary nap in an ordinary place. This is the Garden of the Gods, a haven where the divine themselves come to renew their energies, a space sacred and serene. The gods are well aware that even they need respite from the endless duties of immortality. And yet, there is something particularly striking about this man, this mortal-turned hero, choosing their sacred resting place. Historians still debate the true nature of Hercules' strength. Was it truly divine, or was it the result of sheer human determination? Some suggest that his powers were a gift from Zeus, while others claim that Hercules' strength was a manifestation of his ability to push beyond human limits. Perhaps in the quiet of this garden, Hercules is finally doing what no mortal can, taking the time to truly rest, to let go of his burdens, and let the divine energy of the garden seep into his being. As you imagine him resting here, you might find yourself drifting into a similar state of tranquility. After all, there's something undeniably comforting about knowing that even the strongest of beings can need a break. The constant striving for greatness, the unyielding determination, Hercules, like all of us, had to find balance. And the garden, with its gentle breeze and the soft fragrance of divine flowers, offers that balance. It's the kind of peace we all crave, the kind that's only found when the world slows down and the body and mind are allowed to simply be. As you picture Hercules lying there, drifting deeper into sleep, you can almost feel the weight of the world lifting off his shoulders. For once, he doesn't have to save anyone or defeat any monsters. There's no war to fight, no monster to tame. In this moment, he's just a man, taking a break from his legendary life. And it's in that stillness that the gods, those eternal observers, quietly ponder the nature of heroism. Did Hercules need rest because he was finally overwhelmed by the weight of his legendary deeds, or was it something else? Something divine? Perhaps as the gods watch from their distant realms, they wonder what it truly means to be a hero. There's something almost surreal about the stillness of the Garden of the Gods. The birds, their plumage iridescent and unusual, sing a tune that would lull anyone into a dreamlike state. The wind is gentle, almost as if it too has been commanded to slow its pace in the presence of Hercules' slumber. The divine garden, bathed in soft light, is designed for calm. Yet even within this sanctuary, the presence of gods can't entirely be ignored. And so as Hercules naps peacefully under the olive tree, the world around him hums in its usual divine manner. The gods, those ancient beings whose lives are anything but ordinary, observe this rare scene with a mix of curiosity and bemusement. You might wonder how they react to seeing a hero of such stature, so accustomed to epic battles and impossible feats, succumb to the same basic need as any mortal: sleep. Despite their immortality, the gods are not immune to the temptation of rest. They may not need sleep in the same way humans do, but they too have their moments of weariness. The constant watching over mortal affairs, the endless disputes between siblings and rivals, it's a tiring business. You might even imagine that when they take a moment to rest, their minds wander to thoughts of what it would be like to experience true peace. How would it feel to take a nap without the weight of the universe on your shoulders? Historians have long debated the motivations behind the gods' decisions to intervene in mortal affairs. Was it to teach a lesson, to instill virtue, or simply because they were bored? And yet there is something subtly different about this moment. There is no divine interference. No god stirs the air to wake Hercules, no thunderous command from Zeus to rouse him. Instead, there's an understanding, a quiet agreement among the gods that for once the hero deserves his moment. Maybe, just maybe, they recognize that even gods need to step back sometimes. You see, in a world where immortality offers infinite time and space, there is a strange irony that even the gods must find moments of stillness. There are no wars to be fought here, no great quests to undertake, no enemies to vanquish. The world of the gods is endless, but even they understand the need to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to simply be. And as you drift along with Hercules, lying peacefully beneath the boughs of the olive tree, you might feel the calmness of the garden seep into you too. The gentle rustling of the leaves, the soft murmur of divine creatures in the distance, all combine to create an atmosphere that encourages the slowing of time. Here, in this serene corner of Olympus, there is no rush, no urgency. There is only the present moment. Perhaps, for once, even the gods are grateful for this pause. They are so used to the constant whirl of celestial matters, the endless reverberations of mortal cries, that the rare occasion of a peaceful hero seems to offer them a lesson too, a reminder that even in a world of gods, peace is as precious as the greatest victory. As the day stretches its lazy fingers toward dusk, the Garden of the Gods continues its quiet watch over Hercules. The light softens, filtering through the dense leaves of the trees, casting dappled shadows that seem to dance lazily across his resting form. To the gods watching from Olympus, it's a moment that's both serene and strange, a glimpse into the vulnerability of a man who, for most of his life, has been marked by invincibility. Yet here he lies, powerless against the pull of sleep, as calm as the garden itself. Hercules is not the first hero to find solace in a moment of rest, but his weariness carries a particular weight. You see, after all the heroic deeds, after all the lives saved and kingdoms conquered, even the mightiest of warriors must face a quiet truth. The physical and mental strain of living such a legendary life can sometimes be overwhelming. We often forget that heroes, while extraordinary in many ways, are still human. They age, they tire, and they feel the toll of their labors. Historians still argue whether Hercules' 12 labors were the result of divine punishment or whether they were part of a cosmic test meant to prove his worth. Regardless of the reasoning, those tasks were grueling. Slaying the Nemean lion, capturing the golden hind of Artemis, cleaning the Augean stables, each labor left its mark on him. It's no surprise that even a hero such as Hercules would seek rest when given the chance. As you watch Hercules sleep, the air around him feels lighter, more peaceful, and there's something oddly comforting about seeing a hero take a break. It's as though the entire world understands that this moment is his, and the gods themselves pause their eternal games and petty squabbles to allow him this brief respite. The silence is profound, as though the universe itself holds its breath, afraid to disturb the hero's much-needed nap. And yet there's a certain irony in this. Here, in the Garden of the Gods, a place usually reserved for divine matters, Hercules is allowed the one thing that is often denied to the gods themselves: a moment of utter peace. It's almost as if, in the act of resting, he becomes not just a hero, but a symbol for something deeper, a reminder that even the strongest among us need time to heal, to pause, and to breathe. For once, he is not the one expected to perform miracles or fight battles. He is simply allowed to rest, a luxury that few heroes, divine or mortal, can afford. The gods look on, not with disdain, but with a strange form of reverence. They see in Hercules the reflection of themselves, their own constant struggle to maintain their power, their control over their domains. Perhaps they, too, envy his ability to slip into sleep so effortlessly, to shed the burdens of immortality, if only for a brief time. For them, this rare moment of peace is a gift, one that they know is fleeting and precious. And so, as the sun sinks lower and the shadows lengthen, Hercules remains undisturbed, his sleep deep and unbroken. It's a peaceful scene, almost too quiet, as though the garden itself is holding its breath, careful not to wake the hero before his body has had the chance to fully rejuvenate. In this world of gods, titans, and monsters, there is one universal truth: everyone, no matter how powerful, needs rest. As Hercules sleeps, the Garden of the Gods continues to hold its breath in silence. The world around him remains undisturbed by the usual clamoring of gods, celestial creatures, or the whirling of mortal affairs. This is a rare moment, and even the gods themselves, those eternal beings who typically have no need for sleep, recognize its importance. There is something divine about the quiet, something sacred in the stillness that allows Hercules to rest. The sun sinks lower, casting a golden glow across the garden, as though nature itself is honoring Hercules' need for peace. And yet, as calm as the moment seems, there is an undercurrent of something deeper at play. You see, the gods may have paused their usual activities, but that doesn't mean they are idle. They are watching, observing, perhaps even contemplating the significance of this rare sight. The great hero of the ancient world, reduced to a simple mortal in the act of sleep. In fact, this moment is more than just a quiet pause in Hercules' legendary life. It's a reflection of the divine order itself. While the gods can afford to remain distant and detached from mortal affairs, there is something that even they cannot escape: the need for rest, for renewal. Just as Hercules, in all his glory, must lay down his sword and shield, so too must the gods retreat to their sacred spaces and find peace from their endless duties. Historians still debate whether the gods truly experience fatigue, Some argue that the gods, in their immortal state, are beyond human concerns like sleep and rest. Others suggest that, like their mortal counterparts, they too have moments of weariness, though perhaps in a different, more subtle form. Regardless of the answer, it's clear that the gods recognize the importance of rest in maintaining balance, and so they allow Hercules to sleep undisturbed, recognizing that this moment of peace is as essential to his heroism as any victory he has ever achieved. In the soft glow of the fading light, the gods' gaze lingers on Hercules. There's something almost nostalgic in their observations, a reminder that even the gods were once mortal. Perhaps they see in him a reflection of their younger selves, when they too fought to prove their worth, when they were not yet burdened by the weight of eternity. And perhaps in this quiet moment they envy the simplicity of a hero who can sleep without the weight of endless responsibilities pressing down upon him. As you think about this, you might start to feel the peace of the garden settling into you as well. The soothing air, the rustling of the leaves, and the soft sounds of distant creatures create an atmosphere of serenity that's impossible to ignore. It's almost as though you, too, are part of this divine moment, caught in the gentle stillness that surrounds Hercules. This moment of peace is not just for Hercules. It's for all who witness it, whether mortal or divine. It's a reminder that, in the chaos of life, rest is not a luxury, but a necessity. Just as Hercules has earned this moment of rest, so too do you have the right to find quiet in your own life, to pause and let go of the burdens of your day-to-day existence. For all the strength Hercules possesses, this is his true moment of power. His ability to surrender to rest and renewal, to allow the garden to wash away the weariness of his countless labors. And as you settle deeper into the calm of this moment, you begin to understand something profound. That in the garden of the gods, rest is not a sign of weakness, but of divine wisdom. The air in the garden of the gods grows cooler as the evening draws near. The once golden light now deepens into soft shades of lavender and pale blue, casting long, delicate shadows across the marble paths. Hercules continues to sleep, his chest rising and falling in the rhythm of deep, untroubled slumber. If you could hear his dreams, you might think he is reliving his legendary feats, chasing down the Ceryneian hind, or grappling with the fearsome Hydra. But, in reality, he is far from any battle. Here in this sanctuary, there are no monsters to face, no kings to rescue. There is only the garden, the peace it brings, and the quiet echo of his own breath. The gods, from their distant vantage point, watch the hero with a mix of curiosity and quiet approval. A few of them, typically wrapped in their own divine intrigues, have found a rare moment to appreciate the simplicity of this scene. Even Zeus, the king of gods, is notably silent. Perhaps in this moment he recognizes something about Hercules that even he can't quite understand. A moment of humility, of peace, a break from the ceaseless cycle of divine and mortal conflict. For Hercules, it's a much-needed pause. After all, it's easy to forget that heroes, no matter how strong, are still creatures of flesh and blood. Every labor he completed, every creature he defeated, took something out of him. The toll of his legendary life is not always visible, in his towering frame or unyielding strength, but it is there, just beneath the surface. You can almost hear it in the way he breathes, slow and steady now, as though he is catching up on years of exhaustion that no victory could erase. Historians still argue over whether Hercules' feats were truly the result of divine favor or simply the work of an extraordinarily determined mortal. Some claim his strength was a gift from his father, Zeus, while others suggest that Hercules' true power lay in his unrelenting will, his ability to face seemingly impossible tasks and emerge victorious. But in this moment, it's clear that no amount of strength or willpower can change the simple fact that even the mightiest of heroes need to rest. The stillness of the garden is punctuated only by the soft chirp of unseen creatures and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. It's a sound so gentle that it seems to blend with the rhythm of Hercules' breathing, creating a harmony between hero and garden, between mortal and divine. This peaceful world, so far removed from the chaos of daily life, has become a space, where time seems to slow, just enough for the weary to find solace. Yet, despite the calm, there are still whispers among the gods. Some, especially the younger, more impetuous deities, find themselves intrigued by Hercules' decision to rest here, in the divine garden. To them, it's a strange act of humility, one that seems almost foreign in a world where power is constantly on display. These gods, so used to the grandeur of their immortal lives, can hardly fathom the idea of slowing down, of allowing themselves to simply be, as Hercules does now. But others, older and wiser gods, see the significance of the moment. They know that true strength lies not just in the ability to fight, to conquer, or to control, but in the capacity to step back and let go, to pause, to reflect, and to recharge. It's a lesson that not all gods have fully embraced, but in this rare moment, the garden's tranquility teaches it to all who choose to observe. You may find yourself, too, caught in the stillness of it all. The longer you sit with this image of Hercules lying peacefully in the divine garden, the more you start to understand the wisdom of his choice. In a world where everything seems to demand your attention, your effort, your action, it can be hard to remember the value of just stopping, of doing nothing, of letting time slip by as you rest and allow your body and mind to simply be. And as you settle into the quiet of the garden, surrounded by the divine, you might begin to feel a strange kinship with the hero. Like Hercules, we all need moments of stillness, moments where we're not defined by what we do, but simply by who we are. As the garden's quiet beauty continues to envelop the slumbering Hercules, something curious happens. The soft wind, which had been gently stirring the leaves, slows even further, as though it, too, is aware of the sacredness of the moment. The divine creatures, which usually flit and flutter through the garden in their usual ethereal dance, seem to hover just a little further away, giving the hero the space to rest undisturbed. In the distance, the faintest sound of a harp being played can be heard, the music soft and distant, almost like a lullaby woven into the very air of Olympus. It's as if even the very fabric of Olympus is tenderly holding its breath, waiting for the hero to awaken. In this stillness, the gods watch, the gods, and though many of them have witnessed Hercules perform feats of unimaginable strength and courage, there is something about this moment, this simple act of resting, that resonates in a way none of his past labors ever could. For once, Hercules is not seen as a hero to be admired for his physical prowess or his ability to overcome every obstacle. In this space, he is just a being, resting like any mortal, free from the demands of his heroic duties. Zeus, king of the gods, looks down from his high throne, his eyes soft as they take in the sight of his son asleep in the sacred garden. For all his grandiosity, his divine authority, there is a flicker of understanding in his gaze. Perhaps he sees in Hercules a reflection of himself, the burden of being a father, of being a god, always carrying the weight of expectations. There is, after all, no true respite for the gods, only the eternal tension between action and stillness. And yet, seeing Hercules at peace, Zeus cannot help but acknowledge the rare beauty in this quiet surrender. Historians still debate the father-son relationship between Hercules and Zeus. While some portray Zeus as a distant, commanding figure, others see him as a more loving, though stern, father. Regardless of the differing perspectives, one thing is clear. This moment of peace between father and son is rare. For once, the gods do not seek to control or challenge Hercules, but rather to let him be, to allow him to rest in the place designed for that very purpose. As the light continues to fade, a sense of calm pervades the air. The garden, in all its divine splendor, seems to become a mirror of Hercules' own state, peaceful, unburdened, and free from the weight of expectations. This is the space where the gods come to renew their strength, to escape the demands of their eternal roles. And yet, even within this divine refuge, there is a quiet reminder that even the greatest of heroes need this space too. The soft whispers of the gods who remain, some curious, some sympathetic, are almost imperceptible against the hum of the garden stillness. In this moment, they don't need to intervene. There are no trials to set before Hercules, no new tasks to challenge him. He's not being asked to perform some miraculous feat. He is simply allowed to be, as the gods themselves sometimes wish they could be. A moment without struggle, without the pressure of greatness, where the hero is nothing more than a figure resting in a sacred space. Perhaps, in this brief interval, the gods themselves find something they need, an unspoken reminder that they too might need to pause, to step away from their endless duties, and to take solace in the simplicity of rest. It is a powerful thought. After all, immortality is not free from its own burdens. There is always more to do, more to achieve. But in this garden, there is no more. There is only the present moment, and in that moment, there is peace. As you reflect on this, it becomes clear that Hercules' rest is not merely a break from his trials, but a lesson not just for him, but for all who witness it, both mortal and divine. The lesson that strength does not come only from action and perseverance, but also from the ability to step back, to let go, and to surrender to the peace that life, at its most gentle, can offer. As the twilight deepens, an ethereal quiet blankets the garden of the gods, the air thick with a sense of peaceful finality. Hercules remains asleep, his body fully surrendered to rest, his mind free from the endless demands of divine and mortal life. The garden itself seems to pulse with life, but in a way that is subdued and gentle, like the steady beat of a heart at peace. It is a rare and precious scene, a moment of stillness that contrasts sharply with the chaos of Hercules' usual existence. The divine flowers, now bathed in the light of the setting sun, continue to release their sweet fragrance into the air. The petals shimmer softly as though infused with some kind of sacred energy, their colors vibrant yet serene. The air is thick with the smell of lavender, rosemary, and myrrh, fragrances that have long been associated with peace, relaxation, and healing. These plants, cultivated by the gods themselves, are said to have powerful restorative properties, and in the quiet of this garden, their influence seems to deepen. It's almost as though the very earth is helping to restore Hercules, to wash away the weariness of his countless labors. The peace that surrounds him is not accidental. It's the product of centuries of divine design, a place crafted specifically for the gods to rejuvenate and for heroes like Hercules to find respite. And in this place, all his battles and triumphs seem distant, like a far-off memory that no longer holds the weight it once did. For Hercules, the garden is a sanctuary. It is a place where he can shed the mantle of heroism, if only for a moment, and simply be. There is no fear of failure, no rush to prove himself, no enemies to fight. Here, there is no need to live up to anyone's expectations, neither mortal nor divine. He is allowed in this garden to experience the rarest of things, peace. Historians often debate the true nature of divine rest. Some say that the gods in their eternal state do not require rest in the same way that mortals do, for they are beyond the physical limitations of time and space. But there are others who believe that the gods, like their mortal counterparts, experience moments of weariness. Perhaps they too need to recharge, to step back from their endless responsibilities and find a quiet place to regain their strength. The gods who watch over Hercules in this garden as he sleeps so peacefully are aware of this fact, even if they do not often admit it. They understand that the constant cycle of divine duties, the eternal battles between order and chaos, the endless manipulation of mortal destinies, can wear on even the most powerful beings. And so, they watch with quiet respect as Hercules enjoys this rare opportunity to rest, knowing that just like them, he too needs to step away from his heroic duties every now and then. Perhaps it is in these moments of stillness that true strength is found. After all, Hercules' greatest feats were often those that required him to push past the limits of human ability. Yet in this quiet, he is doing something even more extraordinary. He is allowing himself to be still. It is a subtle act of strength, one that doesn't require battle or brute force, but rather a willingness to surrender, to let go of the weight of the world, and to simply rest. As you think about this, you might find yourself taking a deep breath, feeling the calm of the garden seep into your own being, the gentle fragrance of the flowers, the soft rustling of leaves in the breeze, the delicate sounds of divine creatures humming in the distance. These are the elements of peace. They are the things that allow you, just as they allow Hercules, to find a moment of stillness in a world that is always moving, always demanding. Hercules may be a hero in every sense of the word, but in this moment, he is more than just the sum of his feats. He is a symbol of something deeper, the importance of balance. The importance of taking time for yourself even when the world expects you to keep moving. Even the gods understand that. Perhaps for a fleeting moment they envy the simple peace that Hercules has found in the garden, and perhaps as the night deepens and the stars begin to twinkle above, you too feel a sense of peace settle over you, knowing that even the greatest heroes need their rest. In this divine garden, there is a lesson for all who choose to listen. Strength is not just about action. It is also about knowing when to pause, when to let go, and when to simply be. As the night falls fully over the garden of the gods, a soft moon rises high above, casting its gentle silver light across the landscape. The once golden hues of the garden now shimmer with a cool, ethereal glow, and the entire space seems to take on an otherworldly quality. The silence that has enveloped the garden deepens, the air now thick with the calming fragrance of flowers, the hum of the divine creatures becoming softer, almost imperceptible. Even the wind, which had gently stirred the leaves earlier in the day, has quieted into a soothing stillness. Hercules remains in his deep slumber beneath the olive tree, his chest rising and falling in rhythm with the peaceful atmosphere around him. There is a softness to his features now, something far removed from the fierce, determined expression he wore in battle. In sleep, he is not the legendary hero, the unstoppable force of nature, but simply a man, a being who, like all of us, needs moments of reprieve. It's a subtle yet powerful transformation, from the symbol of strength and endurance to a creature of pure vulnerability. For the gods watching from their distant thrones on Olympus, there is a rare moment of reflection. Many of them have witnessed countless mortal heroes, and some have even participated in their feats. But to see a hero in a state of pure rest, free from the weight of his responsibilities, unburdened by the need to prove himself, is a sight that evokes a sense of reverence. It is a reminder, perhaps, that even the greatest among them, those who stand at the top of the divine hierarchy, can only go so far before they too must pause and find solace. Zeus, who has watched over Hercules since his birth, stands silent in his palace, his eyes reflecting the soft glow of the moonlight. His gaze lingers on his son, now at peace in the garden, and there is something almost fatherly in the way he looks at him. In all of their interactions, Zeus has rarely shown such tenderness. After all, Hercules' life has been a series of trials, each one designed to prove his worth, to earn his place among the gods. Yet here, in the quiet of the garden, there is no test, no challenge, no expectation. There is only rest, and for a brief moment, it seems as though Zeus too understands the profound beauty of that simple truth. Historians often debate the nature of Zeus's affection for Hercules. Was it a complicated, distant relationship bound by divine duty? Or was there genuine love and care between father and son, expressed through subtle gestures in moments like this one? Regardless of the answer, there's no denying the power of this quiet moment. In the stillness of the night, the tension between father and son seems to dissolve, replaced by a quiet understanding, a shared recognition of the value of peace. And perhaps it's in this moment that the gods learn something important. For centuries, they've ruled over the mortal world with a sense of detachment, believing that their immortality made them immune to the struggles and weariness that come with life. But as they observe Hercules, sleeping so soundly in the garden, they are reminded that, like mortals, they too need moments of rest. In their quest for control, for power, they've forgotten the simple truth that even the gods must step back from time to time. Perhaps for the first time, they are beginning to understand that rest is not a sign of weakness, but a necessity for all beings, mortal or divine. As you lie in the calm of this narrative, you can't help but feel a sense of peace too. The image of Hercules lying beneath the moonlight surrounded by the sacred tranquility of the garden serves as a reminder to us all. No matter how strong, how invincible we may seem, we all need time to rest. We all need moments to recharge, to step away from the demands of life and simply be. The night deepens further, and the stars twinkle above, distant yet ever present, like a silent witness to this rare, peaceful moment. The garden, bathed in moonlight, holds its breath as if to savor the tranquility of this divine pause. And as you imagine the scene unfolding in front of you, you might find yourself lulled by the rhythm of Hercules' breathing, the softness of the garden's fragrance, the gentle hum of life in the background. In this serene space, all is still, all is calm, and the gods who have seen and shaped so many fates now find themselves in awe of the simplest, most human act, the act of resting. The gentle hum of Olympus continues through the quiet night, but the peace in the garden persists. The moonlight now drapes fully across the marble pathways, and the divine flowers shimmer in their cool glow, casting delicate shadows across the ground. The winds have ceased entirely, leaving nothing but the soft sounds of distant creatures and the occasional rustling of leaves as their stems sway gently in the night air. The garden, still and perfect, holds a rare moment of tranquility, one that even the gods seem reluctant to disturb. Hercules, still deep in sleep, seems untouched by the passing of time. His body, typically a vessel of action and power, now rests, fully relaxed, without the weight of expectation or heroism. His face, once hardened by the grueling tasks he's faced, is softened by the soothing pull of sleep. There's something incredibly human about this moment, the idea that even a being like Hercules, once thought to be invulnerable, can be rendered so vulnerable in the most peaceful way possible. It's a striking contrast to the image of the hero in battle, his muscles straining and his eyes full of fiery determination. In the soft glow of the moonlight, this moment becomes timeless. The gods, watching from above, continue to observe in silence. Their thoughts are unspoken, but there is an undeniable sense of reverence in their gaze. For all their wisdom, their power, their immortality, the gods have witnessed something extraordinary. A hero, weary from his labors, is allowed to be. There is no challenge to face, no monster to slay, no honor to earn. There is only the peace of the garden and the moment of stillness that Hercules has earned. Perhaps in this moment the gods are reminded of something they have long forgotten, that peace and rest are not weaknesses but vital elements of existence. Immortality, it seems, does not exempt one from the need for rest. Perhaps they envy the simplicity of Hercules' current state. While they continue their endless cycle of divine duties and eternal games, Hercules has been granted the rare luxury of simply being. The gods, with all their grandeur and power, might find themselves wondering what it would be like to have such a respite. Zeus, gazing down from Olympus, seems to sense this shift in perspective. For all his years of watching over Hercules, for all his commands and expectations, there is something deeply moving about seeing his son in this state of rest. It is not a moment of triumph, but a moment of peace. It is as though, in witnessing Hercules surrender to rest, Zeus too is reminded of the importance of stillness. For a god who is never allowed to rest, this moment is a quiet, unspoken revelation. The fates, who weave the threads of mortal lives, seem to pause as well. Perhaps they too understand the importance of this stillness. After all, they spin the threads of destiny for all beings, whether mortal or divine. But even they must take a step back to reflect on the path of their creations. For once, the thread of Hercules' life is unwoven, suspended in the calm of this garden. The fates do not rush to pull at it, to shape it, to give him another task or trial. In this brief moment, they allow the thread to remain still, as though acknowledging the inherent beauty of peace. As you sit with this scene, it becomes clear that rest, true, untainted rest, is a gift. It is not something that is earned only by defeating enemies or completing tasks. Sometimes the most powerful form of strength is the ability to step away from the whirlwind of life, to pause and find peace within oneself. Hercules, in his deep slumber, has found this peace not through battle but through surrender. It is a kind of quiet victory, one that transcends all his past labors. As the night grows deeper and the stars stretch across the sky, the garden remains bathed in its peaceful glow. The divine creatures hover quietly, giving space to the hero. The gods continue to watch, perhaps for the first time with true understanding, as Hercules simply rests, free from the weight of his legendary life. This moment, delicate and fleeting, becomes a lesson for all who witness it, whether mortal or divine. It is a reminder that even the greatest heroes need their moments of stillness. They too must rest and renew their strength. And in this quiet, undisturbed peace, there is a wisdom that the gods themselves are beginning to grasp. As the stars begin to twinkle more brightly in the sky above, a new stillness seems to settle deeper within the garden of the gods. The moon, now fully high in the sky, casts its cold, soft light over the scene, painting the garden with a silvery glow that makes everything feel even more ethereal, almost like it's suspended in time. The divine creatures who had quietly circled in the background are now still, their presence like faint shadows against the larger canvas of the garden's peacefulness. Even the most impetuous of gods, who are usually rushing between divine matters, seem to linger in their thrones, lost in thought as they contemplate the serene sight before them. Hercules, still lying on the cool earth beneath the olive tree, remains untouched by the passage of time. His breathing has slowed into a deep, restful rhythm, the kind of peaceful slumber that can only come after years of hardship and struggle. It's as if the garden itself has absorbed his burdens, turning them into something lighter, something more ephemeral. The weight of his legendary life, his 12 arduous labors, his countless victories and losses, all of it seems to melt away in this sacred space, leaving only the hero's pure, quiet repose. And perhaps, in this moment of rest, something profound occurs. You might imagine that Hercules, despite all his feats and successes, is finally able to reflect on his journey, not as the hero who conquered monsters or saved kings, but as a man who has lived through his own struggles. His sleep, as peaceful as it is, might be the first time in his life that he is free from the need to prove anything to anyone, including himself. The garden, in its divine quiet, has given him the space to simply exist, to heal, to remember that even a hero needs to stop and let go of the burdens they carry. This peaceful interlude has not been disturbed by any new task, any divine challenge, or even the push of destiny. For once, Hercules is allowed to simply be. There is no war to fight, no monster to defeat. He is free, in this moment, from the expectations that have followed him for so long. His power, which has always been defined by action and achievement, is now defined by stillness. This is a new form of strength, one that doesn't come from brute force or physical might, but from the ability to rest, to acknowledge one's limits, and to heal. The gods, as they watch from their celestial thrones, are beginning to understand something they may have long forgotten. In their quest to maintain their power, their immortality, and their control over the fates of mortals, they have overlooked one of the most essential truths of existence. Rest is as important as action. In their eternal lives, the gods have never had the luxury of surrendering to rest, of stepping back from their divine duties. But seeing Hercules, even for a brief moment, surrender to the peace of the garden, they are reminded of the power that exists in that quiet. Zeus, ever the powerful ruler of Olympus, watches his son with an expression that is rare for him, soft and contemplative. Perhaps for the first time, he sees in Hercules not just a hero, but a fellow being, a being who, like him, carries the weight of responsibility, the weight of expectations. For once, Hercules' strength does not come from his ability to act, but from his ability to rest. And in this simple act, he is showing the gods something they might never have fully understood, that even those who hold the world together must occasionally let go. This is a lesson that echoes throughout the garden, carried on the gentle wind, whispered among the leaves. Rest is not a weakness. It is, in fact, an essential part of strength. The divine creatures who have watched for so long now seem to move slower, more thoughtfully, as if they too have internalized this lesson. The stillness of the garden, the peacefulness that has settled over Hercules and by extension the gods, is a reminder to them that power is not always about constant motion. Sometimes, it is about the grace of quiet surrender. And as you sit, with this thought, imagining the peaceful hero resting under the divine moonlight, you might begin to feel that same quiet seep into you. Perhaps there's a lesson here for you as well, that even in the busiest, most demanding of lives, there is room for stillness. There is room to pause, to take a breath, and to simply be. In this space of divine tranquility, the garden, the moon, and the watching gods all seem to hold their collective breath. The universe itself has momentarily stilled, allowing this hero, who has lived so much of his life in the fire of action, to simply rest. It is a rare gift, one that the gods themselves might envy, and it is a gift that belongs to every being, whether mortal or divine, that understands the power of a quiet pause. As the night deepens, the garden takes on an almost dreamlike quality. The moon, high above and brighter than ever, seems to bathe the entire space in a soft, otherworldly light. Everything in the garden, every leaf, every flower, every marble, pillar, shimmers under its glow as though time itself has slowed down. The gentle breeze, once present and lively, has stilled completely, leaving behind only the faintest trace of a whispered sigh. All is calm. All is quiet. There is no movement in the garden, no rustle of wings or chatter of the divine creatures. Only the steady breathing of the hero who lies resting beneath the olive tree. Hercules remains undisturbed, his form still and peaceful, untouched by the vastness of the world around him. In this moment, his legendary strength seems a distant memory. There is no longer the imposing figure of a hero who could slay beasts and complete impossible labors. There is only a man, resting deeply, free from the expectations of both gods and mortals. It is a rare, humbling sight, one that not even the gods could have anticipated when they first set him on his path of heroism. As you watch this peaceful scene unfold, you might feel a strange sense of calm wash over you. It's hard to ignore the power of the stillness that surrounds Hercules. In a world that never stops moving, that constantly demands more, it's almost as though the garden is offering a sanctuary to anyone who is willing to stop, to pause, and to simply be. There is no rush here, no destination, no ultimate goal, just the act of being present, of surrendering to the quiet. The gods, observing from Olympus, are now fully aware of the significance of the moment. Even those who are accustomed to power, to control, to being in charge of everything have never seen a hero like Hercules in this state, vulnerable yet peaceful, powerful yet at rest. The divine, for all its grandeur and awe, has moments of weariness too. And perhaps for the first time the gods understand that it is in these moments of rest, these quiet intervals between action, that true strength can be found. Zeus, as the father of Hercules, must surely feel a deep, unspoken sense of pride. Not for his son's triumphs, not for his victories or labors, but for this moment, this rare gift of rest that Hercules has earned. It's not a moment of glory, it's not a moment of conquest, it's simply a moment of peace, one that the gods themselves have seldom experienced. And in that peace there is a lesson that transcends even immortality, that sometimes strength is found not in what we do, but in what we allow ourselves to not do. Perhaps it's this realization that brings a sense of quiet understanding to the gods. For all their wisdom, all their power, they have missed this crucial part of existence, the need for stillness, for rest, for rejuvenation. The eternal cycle of divine activity can be exhausting, even for gods. And so, as they watch Hercules lying peacefully in the garden, they understand that this moment of rest is not just for the hero, it's for all of them. It's a reminder that even in their endless existence, they too must make room for pause, for reflection, for restoration. In the distance, the faintest sound of a harp begins again, its music soft and soothing, weaving through the garden's silence like a gentle lullaby. The air, which has been still for hours, now seems to breathe again, slowly and calmly, as if the entire garden is sighing in contentment. And as the music drifts through the night, you might feel yourself relaxing even more deeply, your mind letting go of the noise of the world, just as Hercules has done. You begin to understand that in this quiet place, you too are allowed to rest, to pause, to be still. The divine creatures, who had been so still before, now begin to stir once more, their movements slow and purposeful, as though they too have learned something from Hercules' surrender to rest. They seem to hover gently in the air, moving in delicate patterns, their light footsteps echoing softly across the marble pathways. The entire garden, it seems, is waking up, not with a rush of energy or divine ambition, but with a gentle, quiet acknowledgement that rest has its own power. It is not weakness, it is not idleness. It is simply a necessary part of existence, one that even the gods must honor. And so, as the moon continues its slow arc across the sky, casting its soft light over the garden, you begin to feel the peace of the place settle deeper within you. The quiet of the night, the gentle rhythm of Hercules' breathing, and the soft music in the background all combine to create a sense of tranquility that is difficult to resist. In this moment, there is nothing more to do, nowhere more to go. There is only the quiet stillness, the presence of peace, and the reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies in knowing when to rest. As the night stretches on, the garden of the gods becomes more surreal, as though time itself has slowed to match the peaceful rhythm of Hercules' slumber. The stars, like quiet sentinels, twinkle faintly above, casting a soft glow across the sacred ground. The moon, now high in the sky, bathes the garden in silver, and the once warm, golden light of day has given way to the cool, calm illumination of the night. The air is thick with the gentle fragrance of divine flowers, their scents mingling in the quiet air like a soft lullaby. It's a moment suspended in time, peaceful, unhurried, and serene. Hercules, still lying beneath the olive tree, has not moved, his body fully surrendered to the healing balm of sleep. The world around him continues its quiet, slow-paced rhythm, as though it too has recognized the significance of this rare moment. Even the divine creatures who usually flit about with ethereal energy have become quieter, more contemplative, as though giving their full attention to the hero who has earned this peaceful respite. For Hercules, this rest is not just a break from his labors, it's a moment of healing. His body, scarred by countless battles, and his mind, burdened by the weight of his legendary life, are allowed the space to rest, to recover, and to rejuvenate. It's easy to forget, in the face of his immense strength, that Hercules has lived through struggles just as challenging as the tasks he faced. And now, in the solitude of the garden, he is free to let go of the weight he's carried for so long. Historians continue to argue about whether Hercules' legendary strength was purely the result of divine gifts or if it was the product of his sheer will and determination. Some say he was simply a mortal with extraordinary resolve, while others insist his strength was bestowed by the gods. But in this moment, as he lies in peaceful repose, none of that matters. What matters is that even the mightiest hero, even one who was said to have the strength of 10 men, needs time to rest and heal. It is a universal truth, one that transcends immortality, heroism, and even the divine. The gods, watching from their distant thrones on Olympus, continue to observe Hercules with an unspoken reverence. They too are beginning to understand the profound power in this moment. As gods, they are used to action, to endless duties, and to the pursuit of control over the mortal world. But here, in the garden, there is no need for action. There is no need for dominance. There is only the peace that comes with simply being, with surrendering to rest, and allowing the body and mind the space to recover. Perhaps, in their eternal lives, the gods have forgotten this lesson, that rest is not just a luxury but a necessity. Zeus, in particular, must feel a certain pride in this moment. Not for Hercules' many victories, not for his labors or his strength, but for this simple act of rest. This is a victory of a different kind. The victory of knowing that even the greatest heroes must stop and take a moment to breathe. It's a soft, tender reflection of a father who, in this quiet moment, sees not just a son but a fellow being, a being who, despite his immortality and strength, shares the same need for peace as anyone else. In the distance, the music from the harp begins again, this time even softer, as though it too recognizes the sacredness of the moment. The rhythm of the music is slow, deliberate, each note falling like a drop of water in a quiet pond, creating ripples in the calm. It blends seamlessly with the night, weaving through the soft breeze that has returned to the garden, creating a symphony of peace that surrounds Hercules. And now, it seems, you too. As you imagine this peaceful scene, Hercules resting, the gods watching in silence, the divine creatures hovering in stillness, you begin to feel the calming effect of it all, the garden's quiet beauty, the soft sounds of the harp, the gentle caress of the breeze. These things seem to take root in your own mind, allowing you to drift into a place of stillness yourself. It's as if the garden's peace has woven its way into your very being, wrapping you in a cocoon of calm and serenity. The gods, the creatures, and the garden itself are all part of this moment, and in this stillness you begin to understand the importance of pausing, of stepping away from the endless demands of life to simply exist. It is a reminder that we all, in our own way, need moments to rest, to be still, and to let go of the pressures that surround us. And like Hercules, we all have the strength to embrace that stillness when the time is right. For Hercules, this is his moment. And for the gods, perhaps it is a lesson learned too late. But in the sacred peace of the garden, there is one truth that remains clear. Rest is not a weakness, it is in fact a form of strength that even the divine must honor. The night continues to unfold in the garden of the gods, each passing moment deeper into tranquility, as the stars above seem to watch over Hercules like a silent, eternal audience. The cool, silvery light of the moon casts a soft glow, turning the garden into a place that seems suspended between worlds, neither fully mortal nor fully divine. It is a realm of stillness, a sanctuary where the divine rhythms of Olympus slow, if only for a brief, precious moment. In this pause, even the gods seem to understand the profound weight of peace. Hercules lies at the heart of this quiet, his body fully at rest, his form almost indistinguishable from the natural beauty of the garden itself. His features, once hardened by endless battles and relentless challenges, are now relaxed, softened by the serenity that surrounds him. His powerful hands, which have once gripped swords and chains with unshakable strength, now rest gently at his sides. It's a sight so stark in contrast to the usual image of the mighty hero that it almost seems like a different man entirely. For the gods watching, this is a rare sight, a hero at peace, not in the wake of a great victory or triumphant labor, but simply because he has earned this rare moment of stillness. There is no conquest here, no adversary to face. There are no tasks to complete, no monsters to slay. There is only rest, and in this quiet respite, there is a beauty that transcends all of Hercules' past feats. For the first time, the hero is seen not for his strength but for his vulnerability. The kind of vulnerability that comes with surrendering to the power of rest, of allowing oneself to be without the pressure of constant achievement. As the divine creatures of the garden move quietly through the shadows, the gods watch with an unspoken understanding. Perhaps they too are reminded of something that even they may have forgotten in the centuries of their existence. That true power is not about perpetual action, but about the ability to step back, to pause, and to rest. The gods, so used to being the engines of fate, of guiding the course of events, begin to see the quiet strength in what Hercules has done. They realize that there is something divine in simply being still, in surrendering to the moment and allowing oneself to recharge and renew. For Zeus, standing high above Olympus, the realization comes with a quiet sense of humility. He has seen his son, Hercules, face unimaginable challenges, endure feats that few mortals or gods could ever dream of withstanding. And yet, it is not in the slaying of monsters, nor in the completion of impossible tasks, that Hercules' true strength lies. No, in this moment, under the cool light of the moon with nothing more than peace surrounding him, Zeus sees that strength too can come from knowing when to rest. There is something profound about this revelation, something that even the king of the gods might carry with him long after this night ends. The harp plays once more, its music still soft, but now with a slow, soothing rhythm that matches the calm of the garden. The notes seem to drift into the air like whispers, a gentle reminder that rest is a gift, and that even the gods are not above needing it. The garden's divine creatures move ever so slightly now, their presence almost imperceptible, as they begin to understand the weight of the stillness. The universe, which has been so driven by the forces of destiny, power, and action, now seems to pause, as if in homage to the one thing that often goes unnoticed in the chaos of existence: peace. And so, the night grows deeper. The stars shine, brighter above, their twinkling light filling the sky with quiet radiance. The garden remains still, serene, and filled with a gentle harmony. The air is soft, and there is no rush to the passage of time. The divine flowers continue to shimmer, their colors becoming more subdued in the moonlight, while the wind still now seems to have taken on a sense of purpose. Everything in the garden has come to rest, to be still, just as Hercules is still. For all the strength and heroism that Hercules has shown throughout his life, it is in this quiet moment that he becomes a different kind of hero. He is not the hero who fights battles or conquers challenges. He is simply the hero who rests, who embraces the power of stillness and allows himself to heal. This moment is perhaps his greatest victory yet, not because of what he has done, but because of what he has allowed himself to do. He has surrendered to the peace of the garden, and in doing so he has reminded both mortals and gods alike that sometimes the greatest strength comes from knowing when to rest. And as you sit with this scene, you may feel the quiet peace of the garden wrapping itself around you, just as it has around Hercules. The stillness, the calm, the serenity, they all come together in a way that is difficult to describe but easy to feel. You begin to understand that rest is not just a break from life, it is a necessary part of living, of existing, of being. As the hours stretch onward and the garden continues its serene vigil, the first signs of dawn begin to gently seep across the horizon. The soft, silver glow of the moon gradually fades, replaced by the subtle hues of early morning, a pale blush of pink and lavender spilling over the edges of the sky, casting a quiet light over the garden. The air, still cool from the night, begins to warm, and the delicate fragrances of divine flowers mix with the faintest scent of fresh earth. The garden stirs just slightly, not with any great rush or haste, but with the slow, gentle awakening that comes with the dawn, and yet, despite the approaching day, Hercules remains at peace beneath the olive tree, his deep slumber undisturbed by the changing light. There is something almost eternal about this moment, a feeling that time has slowed to a crawl, just for him, just for this. His body, which has carried the weight of so many heroic deeds, is still, serene, and healing in the quiet of the divine garden. The weight of his legendary life, the triumphs, the struggles, all seem to have evaporated into the soft air, leaving only the peaceful, timeless essence of rest. As the first rays of sunlight begin to break through the canopy of trees, overhead they cast soft shadows across Hercules' body. It's a quiet, gentle light, the kind that does not force its presence but rather enters slowly, as though tiptoeing in to respect the stillness of the night that has passed. The divine creatures, once silent and still, now begin to stir slightly, as though aware that a new day is beginning, but still no rush, no hurry. The world is waking up slowly, just as Hercules does in his own time, at his own pace. The gods on Olympus, their attention still drawn to the hero in the garden, begin to understand something profound. The hero who has spent his life facing monstrous challenges and fighting unimaginable battles is now simply lying in peace, in the warmth of the garden's embrace. The gods themselves, with their infinite time and power, realize that in all their eternal existence, they too have missed something essential. Hercules' greatest feat is not one of physical strength, nor of defeating beasts or monsters. It is the simple act of resting, of surrendering to the quiet, and allowing himself to be still. The gods, those who have seen and shaped fate, who have driven the course of history, are learning from this hero not through action but through the gentle power of peace. For Zeus, watching from his throne, the sight of his son at rest brings an unexpected clarity. His eyes, often steely with the weight of his divine responsibilities, soften as he gazes at Hercules, lying in the tranquil garden. This is not the son who faced 12 impossible labors, nor the hero who defeated armies and slayed beasts. This is simply his son at peace, free from the unrelenting push of destiny. And perhaps in this quiet moment, Zeus understands that Hercules' true strength lies not in his ability to conquer the world, but in his ability to surrender, to accept the necessity of rest. In allowing himself to be still, Hercules is demonstrating a strength that even the gods had not fully realized. As the morning light deepens and the garden stirs more with the awakening of day, you too might feel the peacefulness of the moment begin to settle deeper within you. The divine music that had been playing softly through the night now fades, as if to make room for the natural sounds of the world. The soft rustle of leaves in the trees, the faint call of distant creatures, and the gentle murmur of a breeze that has returned to the garden all blend into a soft, peaceful symphony, a soundtrack to the quiet awakening of the garden and of Hercules himself. And as you reflect on the story of this great hero, you come to understand something that is not often celebrated in tales of strength and valor: the power of rest. Hercules, for all his accomplishments, for all the greatness that is attributed to him, has shown the greatest strength of all. He has shown us that sometimes the most important thing we can do is to stop, to rest, and to allow ourselves the gift of peace. In this final moment, the garden has taught its lesson, the gods have learned their lesson, and you have too. Rest is not a sign of weakness, it is not an indulgence, it is simply a necessary part of life, one that must be honored. Even the strongest must pause, and in that pause, in that stillness, there is strength more profound than any battle won or task completed. The stars, the moon, the divine creatures, and even the gods have learned this lesson. The garden, with its serene beauty and peaceful calm, has offered its gift to all who have observed it. And now, as the sun rises fully, casting its golden rays over the garden, you are left with a simple, beautiful truth. The most important thing we can do is to rest, to let go, and to simply be. Now, as the light of day fills the garden and the world continues to move forward, remember the quiet power of Hercules' rest, and may you too find moments to pause and recharge, to allow yourself the peace that is always there, waiting for you to embrace it.